Arsenal get a brilliant win against Olympiacos. When I say brilliant, it's a clean sheet. It's another 3 points. You keep it moving. Was it scintillating? For 20 minutes, it was. For 20 minutes, I thought, we're looking really, really good. This might be some of the best football I've seen from Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. It was very reminiscent of 22-23 football. But it fell away. It got a little colder, the football. When I say that, a little bit more stale, a little bit more passive. But I've got to give credit to Olympiacos. They really worked their way back into it, caused us a lot of problems. They caused us more problems than a lot of top teams we've played recently. And I wonder whether Arsenal were caught in between trying to get the second and keeping it an open game and getting that other goal and actually going, oh, they look like they're going to hurt us here. Do we just kind of retreat? This is a little bit of a live analysis. This is a player ratings. We're going to do it with all of you in the comment section below. So send me through your ratings for particular players. And the player that I really want to talk about throughout this live stream is going to be this guy here, Martin Odegaard, and the area that he was playing in, very much as a 10, but very much floating around the pitch. This was Arsenal's starting 11. And as always, we've got the Arsenal bench too, which you'll see here. We're going to fill in all the ratings. This is your first time joining. This is a series that we're doing after every game. And then, of course, you've got the subs and Mikel Arteta too. So player ratings for everyone that got on the pitch, including the manager. So we're going to go through those together. And like I said, talk about Odegaard in particular. What we do with this particular live stream is not only do the ratings, but try and do it in a way in which we're able to talk about what they did from an analysis perspective as well. This isn't my deep dives. In fact, later today, we've got a deep dive on Declan Rice coming out on the channel. So do look out for that. This is more an analytical look at the player ratings, if that makes sense, using the tactical pad we've got here. So get all your comments in for all the particular players, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, shall we crack on? We probably should. Need to, do you know what? Let's get some comments here. Big up Odegaard. Yeah, I agree. He was absolutely brilliant. Odegaard gaining momentum. Can't wait for Saturday when he plays with Eze and Saka. I know a lot of you in the comments asking particular questions around sort of forever Arsenal and things like that. All I ask is patience. At the moment, I'm just kind of focused on doing content and providing, this particular show and the videos we're doing. I understand it's very frustrating not having answers and not having a particular show that people really, really enjoyed. We will address it properly. Just want to find kind of like the right way, if that makes sense. I just want to focus on doing content. Turkish spoke a little bit about it in his match reaction, if you want a little bit more from him. But like I said, apologies to everyone who's asking questions. I'm not meaning to ignore you guys. I'm really, really not. I'm just trying to focus on doing the content at the moment. And when I've actually got answers, then, we can sort of, be a little bit more transparent about kind of what's next on the content perspective. And that's all we'll ever talk about, what's next and what's to come. So sorry for the lack of communication on that front. I answered a comment on the last live stream. Again, I get it's frustrating, but I hope you guys can understand that. Let's just focus on talking about Arsenal for now. And like I said, when there's answers about what the future of content looks like, then we'll let you know, of course. So yeah. But I appreciate everyone's concern and thank you for asking. But that's sort of all I'm really going to say about it at the moment, if that's okay. Okay, so David Raya. And a few comments are coming in already. Raya, 8 out of 10, made good passes and an amazing save. Oh, I read that already. So sorry, Fanhunter, who came in with a few. Let me know your ratings for Raya, guys. I'm going to agree with an 8. By the way, sorry that this stream wasn't done last night. Reason being purely that. Let's get this back on screen. There we go. Reason being purely that I was at my dad's 60th, and as you can hear, I'm not 100%. Still a little bit unwell. A few 8s, a couple 9s coming in. It's a great question from Karthik. Is Raya world class or not yet? I think he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So probably. I want to go 8. I think he was very, very good. Obviously kept a clean sheet, dealt with everything, made some very good saves. I suppose what I'd say is then what makes it a 9, right? I mean, Yeah, what more could he have done? Yeah, and I agree with this comment from Liquid Gas. It's a 9. Can't think of anything he did wrong. That's probably fair. I think a 9 for me is like a 10 for a goalkeeper is your distribution was perfect and everything you did, you are the reason we won the game with your saves. A 9 is you have made ridiculous saves throughout the game. And an 8 is you've had to put out some great ones and your distribution was brilliant. You called into action more than I expected, but you did a great job. So I don't think he was quite like, I don't think they were peppering the goal and basically we won because of David Raya. But yeah, I'll go with a 9. As you can see, if you hear people, I'm still a little bit bunged up, so I might have to run off and just, yeah, pause the stream for a second, but hopefully I will be all right. Okay, should we go back to the ratings? Yeah, right, I agree with that. Let's do the centre backs next. I'll give Saliba a 7. And I'll give Gabriel. Actually, no. I'll give Gabriel a 7. I'll give Saliba a 6. What do you all think of that? Is that fair? I felt Gabriel was a little bit more progressive in his passing, trying to find the ball over the top to Trossard a couple of times, but it didn't really work for him. There are a few times where I thought, if you get that ball right, Trossard's in. Defended quite well. Saliba was quite like Saliba sailed through it, didn't he? It's difficult. I don't really have too much to say on them. Yeah, Raju asking this question, is Gabriel okay? Do we know? So Gabriel came off injured. Arteta says because he sort of wasn't 100% going into the game, but he could have carried on. They just decided why risk it and brought Mosquera on. This is a great position to be in when you've got the squad like that. You can bring players like Gabriel off for Mosquera on and sort of see it out. So yeah, he's absolutely fine. He could have played, and I think he'll be fine for West Ham. What have we got? Some over the top balls caused issues. Yes, was that Gabriel? I agree with that. Saliba good on the ball. Marcus says, even with Mascara coming on, if we don't have to think about slotting in and out, that's a positive. Completely and utterly agree. Dead certs. Who's getting the random 4 today then? A lot of you weren't happy about the Mascara one last week. I don't think anyone's getting a 4. But thank you for tuning in. As always, dead certs. Let me know your ratings for the players as we go through them. Okay. It's funny, actually. He says who's getting the random 4. Ben White was not good, guys. His crossing, beaten in the one-on-ones. I was disappointed. I think Ben White looked really good in pre-season, like really good. And I thought he looked really shaky. And to be fair, Olympiacos played well. Contra in the comments saying White getting the 4. Karthik says White 5. Look, if I gave Mascara a 4 the other day, I've got to be fair and probably give him a 4. I think White struggled even more than Mascara did. I'll go 4. Sorry, I will. And the reason I'll give him a 4, by the way, I love Ben White. I'm in the camp that when Ben White's at his best, there's nothing in it between him and Timber. Timber's better defensively. Ben White's better going forward. You pick your player for each game. That's when they're both at their best. But White really, really struggled defensively. Am I being harsh? Tell me in the comments. Am I doing that thing where I saw him get beaten by the winger once, and therefore I'm acting like he was struggling defensively all game when really he wasn't? Am I doing that? Am I doing that thing where actually I sort of 1 or 2 things stuck in my head and everything else he did quite well? I don't remember his passing being particularly inventive through the lines. His crossing wasn't particularly great. I don't think he supported Martinelli too well. I don't think they had an understanding. Let's see. Yes, very harsh, James. Dead Cert says 5 is probably there. It's probably fair. 5 is the right score. Contra says, looking real shaky, bad passing forwards. Fair. There's a few players that are going to get 5 later, and I think that will help you understand why I've given him a 4. Basically, for me, a 5 is fine. The middle number, it's fine. I don't think he was fine. I think he was and worse than fine. Like I think he would always have come off for Timber, but when he came off, I think it was less about managing minutes and more about, okay, yeah, we need to get some quality, defensive sturdiness out at right back. 4 is way too harsh, but then interesting name. Posty McBoatface. Let me know what your counter is, because if you're saying 4 is way too harsh, but your ratings are 5, then mine isn't way too harsh. Like if mine's a 4 and yours is a 6 or a 7, I'd understand. So just when you guys are saying it's too harsh, let me know what else what else you'd go for. 4 is fair. Shout out from South London. Hope you are well. White was poor. I agree. Wow. Sue says White more at 3.5. Let's go for okay. And I agree. He didn't gel with Nelly at all. Okay, cool. On a more positive note, I thought Lewis Skelly was great, guys. I thought he was really good. I'm going to give him an 8 as well. I thought Lewis Skelly was really, really good. And I think this is where we can now start to talk tactics a little bit, move people up the pitch. Because without Calafiori, we went for much more of the invert system. But I thought what was really interesting is how much Odegaard was in a free role. And I can't really say that Marino was always up here. I think it was a little bit more something like this, where Lewis Skelly was sort of tucking in. But I wouldn't say he was at times fully inverting. But I think there was a bit of a range to his play. I think at times he was sort of encouraged to even go beyond Marino, which was good. I think Marino's best in this area of the pitch. I think Marino had a quietly good game. I think a lot of people weren't that sort of convinced by him, but I think he did okay. There was one moment where he sort of ventured into this area of the pitch, didn't he? He drove up the pitch, came from a lovely ball. I mean, David Raya, whose distribution was superb, found Odegaard in the middle of the pitch. We work our way through to Lewis Skelly, sorry. Martinelli's peeled off. He might be offside, but I think he's got it right. Lewis Skelly whips a ball into the box. Martinelli gets his head on it. Well, not really his head on it, it's his shoulder, and it goes wide. But I thought Lewis Skelly in this area of the pitch was brilliant in terms of passing through the lines, in terms of turning. Because there were times where he received the ball with players around him like this, but he was very happy to open his body up, let the ball come into his feet, but then across him so that he barely takes a touch and he runs away with it and he's opened the game up. Lewis Skelly offers that a lot more than Calafiori. Calafiori is a good galloper with the ball. He can turn and drive, don't get me wrong. But I think that natural midfield instinct comes from Lewis Skelly more. Now, I never like the balance of if Lewis Skelly's out wide, then Trossard for me should be more on the inside. So I think there were times where we saw Lewis Skelly a little wider to allow Marino to move on to the inside. But I don't think it... How do I explain it? I don't think it comes too naturally to him, but it was good to see a good ball into the box to Martinelli that I think was kind of work he's done with Gabriel Heinze. Hit that cross earlier from the half space. We're going to create chances before the ball goes into a crowded box. So yeah, that's my rating for Lewis Skelly, 8. I thought he was brilliant. I think he's going to earn more football over time. All right, everyone. I'm going to just grab a tissue because, as you can tell, I'm still bunged up, not feeling 100%. Let me know your ratings for Zubimendi and Marino. Put your name in, put your rating. We will do them together. I'll leave this on screen and I'll be back in 1 second. And he's back. Cool. Thank you very much for your ratings coming in. Let's go do them. I see some questions coming in about things to do with Forever Arsenal. That I addressed that very, very briefly at the beginning of the video. No real explanation, just asking for a little bit of time where we can just carry on with content. And yeah, that's all. So people asking that, I talk about it a little bit at the beginning of the video, but not much should be said. And yeah, just want to get that out there. Anyway, back to it. Okay, interesting. Zubimendi 5.5, Marino 6. Both Zubi and Marino 6. Zubimendi 6. Zubi 7, Marino 6. They were okay, a bit weak defensively. 7 for both Zubimendi and Marino. Probably 6 for a 7. Dead Certs says Zubi 7, Marino 6. Would like to see Zubimendi demand the ball more. Marino was good, stable as always. I'm really torn on this one. Zubi and Marino 5 at best. Subi, thanks for your support as always, mate, by the way. Always really appreciated. Look, okay. I want to find the right words for Zubimendi here. I think Zubimendi's been good for us. I think he's been, at times, very good. But dare I say I've expected a little bit more from him? How many games have we seen him now? 9? 8? 9? 6 in the league. I don't think he didn't play in the Carabao Cup, I don't think. So 6 in the league, 2 in the Champions League. I think Zubimendi has been good to very good. But I haven't looked at him like I thought I would and go, wow, he is like running this. At times I have. I'm not sure I've quite seen. Yeah, Jeff in the comments saying he's been good, but he's not been spectacular. And I agree with this. He's still adapting. He'll go nuclear soon. I love that. Yeah, that's how I feel. I think he's adapting still. I don't know if this is controversial, guys. I think Marino's maybe a little bit better than him. I think Marino's a little bit more expansive in his play, trying to underlap, showing some good tight, turns in tight areas, winning the ball in midfield. There's one thing he did brilliantly where he went to support the left-hand side, Marino, and then he just lofted the ball into the box to Gyökeres. He just went, well, I'm just going to lift it in there because Gyökeres will look after it. Gyökeres took a good touch. And I think I can't remember what happened for that moment, but I think Marino's a little bit more expansive and inventive. I think Zubimendi, I expect him in a game like that where we've got total control to be really finding the pockets and it really happening. But that was more Odegaard doing that. Yeah, I'm glad a few people agree that Marino was better. I'm going to go Zubimendi 6 and Marino 7. I don't really have much more to say on them. We could touch on Odegaard now, who I'm going to give a 9, people. I thought Odegaard was the best player on the pitch. And if he'd scored that goal where Saka cuts it back for him, I think he's getting a 10 maybe. I mean, you sort of think, well, should 10s be saved for hat-trick heroes? But if you get 2 goals and an assist, and it's literally we scored 3 goals, and you've had a goal contribution for all 3, then I think he probably would have deserved a 10. But I'll give him a 9. Do you know what it is about Odegaard that I loved about him? Him and Eze are going to work brilliantly together. Because what I'm noticing in Odegaard's game, and look, we've seen this since 23-24. We've seen this a little bit last season when he was fit. Odegaard does want to be, this is why I've always described him as not a 10, but a creative 8. He can make things happen, but you've got to give him the air of the pitch to control the game. At times he's deep in build-up, at times he's left centre mid, at times he's pulling out here. But you didn't see him stuck on this touchline trying, because what he does when he is stuck on this touchline, what he's trying to do is bring players across. I mean, this is a shambles of a shape, but you get me. He's trying to pull players across to create space in here. And what you saw was him floating all over the place. Now, to be fair, they took the game into us on Olympiacos. I don't think they just sat back to defend. I think they tried to press, they tried to play. But what he was doing, we sort of have to move everyone up the pitch a little bit. I've got to give Arsenal credit in general. I think they were doing this really, really well. I think, because obviously I've titled this video, Odegaard unlocks Arsenal, or how Odegaard unlocks Arsenal. What I don't want to be is sort of taking the piss with my titles, right? I mean, this isn't a full-blown analysis of him, with stats and numbers or whatever. But I want to talk about why I think he's doing it in particular, how in particular he does it. What I think Odegaard does is I think whatever people think of the form he's been in, he still drags a lot of players to him. And I think when he gets into these pockets, the way he floats around, I think he naturally has players sort of gravitating a little bit closer to him. There's a tendency to want to get nearer to Odegaard when you can, but he's so good at finding spaces and he's so quick at picking out a pass that I think what he's doing is inadvertently creating a lot of space in his movement, in the way he kind of works positions. I think he's creating a lot of space in behind here for the likes of a Gyökeres to make a run. There's so many times we found him playing this pass. Just in behind, or maybe something a little bit straightforward, which we see for the goal. He literally just plays a straight line pass. There were times where he's got this pass on him, which I absolutely love. He loves to, if we just, I think if I can do this, there we go. Like that, there we go. He loves to unlock these areas of the pitch when he's able to drift. He unlocks that left-hand side a little bit more, plays some brilliant passes. But what he also does is when players do get near him, he's very quick at popping it off and giving it and going really quickly. I think Arsenal play their quickest football when Martin Odegaard is on the pitch, and players are feeling like they can make runs, and they're not, because rest defense is really important. What we mean by that is, what shape are you holding when you're attacking? What are your defenders doing off the ball when actually you're the team attacking? And I think Arsenal players worry about that less. They worry about their shape when they've got the ball, when Odegaard is in possession, because they know that there's a better chance he's actually going to find the pass. And I think he's really, that pass into Gyökeres, the way he shows strength, we'll talk about Gyökeres in more detail. I thought he was great. The way he is able to drift into these areas, and by drifting into these areas, when he comes over to the left-hand side, it takes the onus off Marino having to be high and wide. If that takes the onus off Marino, it takes the onus of Zubimendi being the only one in build-up. And if Marino's there, it takes the onus off Lewis Skelly, which means he goes, right, Marino's there, so I'm more than happy to get forward, or I'm more than happy to underlap if Trossard's hugging the touchline, because Odegaard has come in and almost dictated to the team, this is going to be our shape. But sometimes he'll happily go, Marino, you go up the pitch. Lewis Skelly, go wide. Trossard tuck in. Zubimendi, you drift to the left. We know likes to get into these areas of the pitch as well. And Odegaard can come into these areas. And sometimes that invites a Martinelli or a Saka to tuck in. Sometimes that allows a Ben White. But he is constantly speaking to his team, and he is constantly the one trying to find that passing beyond. Now, Odegaard, why notice against Newcastle, which I think really sums up how he plays the game, he won't spam passes and crosses and through balls in the hope that one or two come off. He will make sure he keeps working the opposition until that opens up. But what I've really liked about him this season, in particular in these two games against Newcastle, is how his movement has manipulated the opposition. How the fact that, imagine trying to mark him. He must be going, all right, I'll pick him up for a second. But what happens when he just drifts off you into this area because Ben White's tucked in? Arsenal's fluidity and build-up, what do you do? Does he follow? Does he drop in? Because let's say he does drop in. He goes, all right, well, I'm picking up Odegaard, so I'll drop in. It only takes a Zubimendi to open up the other way for that switch of pass to be onto Martinelli, and suddenly he's 1-on-1 with the fullback. And Odegaard is either drifting into this area or he's dropping deep. This guy's having to drop back. The shapes collapse a little bit, and Ben White's there, always coming on the overlap. The constant rotations from Arsenal make it so difficult for the opposition to track and follow runners. But Ben White, his fluidity and build-up's a big part of it. Zubimendi, his sort of preference to build up towards the left at times, but comfortable on the right helps. But Odegaard is the reason why Arsenal are able to have all this kind of rotation and fluidity in the way that they're trying to break teams down. And I think his passing and how quickly he's seeing those passes and wanting to play them is really encouraging. But the fact that he is so effective in this area of the pitch is something Arsenal and Arteta need to use more. I like this. Owen Hargreaves says he played like a surgeon. I really like that too. AMSN says Eze and Odegaard in some games, like against Newcastle. Jason says Odegaard looking really good when he was drifting to the left, and the passes into the forward players were more natural as he was passing into the left channel with his natural foot. Agreed. Odegaard 10 is just fantastic. Great performance, 100%. I'm glad you agree. Moha. I would love to see us interchange left centre mid, right centre mid during games, just like how we swapped left wing and right wing against Olympiacos. Yeah, I totally agree. Odegaard works for Gyökeres, says Anissa. because of Gyökeres' strength at keeping the ball and running behind. Havertz doesn't work with Odegaard as he doesn't stay up top. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, good way of looking at it. Good way of looking at it. The biggest change I noticed, says George, was he looked more comfortable receiving contact. Yes, he did. Just a great point, George. He did a brilliant job riding contact and in tight spaces, showing quick feet and winning fouls and actually going, I'll either take the foul or I'll be able to get past you. Um, he says he was absorbing the contact and having the power to turn. I agree. With the runners in front of him, he flourishes. 9 out of 10 game. George, great point. Totally agree with that. All right. Who should we talk about next? We'll clear the board a little bit because it's all got a little bit messy. Do you know what? I'm going to do Gyökeres next because then we can go through the sub of the manager quite quickly and round this off on half an hour. Gyökeres, I'm going to give him a 7, guys. Now, the reason it's not an 8 because I think he did some great stuff. I think he was obviously crucial on the goal with that through ball. That's wrong. When that through ball is played into him from Odegaard, the way he bullies defenders, and the amount of runs that he makes off the ball is sensational. I think his hold-up play is getting better and better and better too. But I think there was a moment to cut it to Martinelli, and I think that could have been 2-0. I think would have made the game a little bit more comfortable. You know, he is in behind. Then I think he quite literally has this pass onto Martinelli. It's a very simple one if he gets his head up. Some people say Martinelli got a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. I mean, maybe, but look, ultimately, we want players to just do the right thing. His hold up play was very good. He did some good things. His touch was getting better. His hold up, his link up is looking really, really good now. But there were some moments I remember where he ran in beyond, and then I think he had the ball on his left, and he cut onto his right, and he just sort of fired it over the bar, and things like that. You're thinking, Gyökeres, like that. That's the kind of moment we're hoping for. And I think he's going to get more of these in the Champions League than in the Premier League. I don't think he'll get much of this against West Ham and Nuno's West Ham on the weekend. So because of his finishing and actually the final product of the final third, I can't give him more than a 7. But his overall game was like an 8 or a 9. I think his overall performance was really, really good. And yeah, a few of you agreeing. 7, good performance. Finishing wasn't quite there. I agree. People were questioning his hold-up play as well as Arteta's system. This guy's improving game by game. I totally agree. Karthik gives him an 8. The goal was just missing, but he's convincing with every performance, constant improvement. I agree. And you know what, Karthik? I think if he got the goal, I would have given him a 9. You know, I think it's like if he scores, he jumps from a 7 to a 9 because that's how important a goal can be. Lorenzo says, love the work rate of Gyökeres. I totally agree. If he'd put in that performance but never really got the chances on goal, then I probably would have given him an 8, saying, well, he never had service, but he did everything brilliantly. But the service was there, and he could have done a little bit more with it, I think. You got to think, even though the first goal is because of his kind of brute force and, you know, power to get through, he also, you know, the keeper saved it. So, you know, you could also be saying he should have done better with that. But yeah, he was very, very good. But actually, he was much better than Marino. And he was much better than Gabriel. Okay, I changed my mind. I'll give him an 8. Um, I will give him an 8. Had a hand in the goal. He was better than Marino. He was better than Gabriel. I was as happy with him as Lewis Skelly. Yeah, I'll give him an 8. So yeah, my bad. It's interesting. Sometimes you've got to look at what you've given other people. I'll give him an 8. Okay, I'm not going to say much on Martinelli. I think even though he scored, I wasn't that impressed with him, if I'm really honest. I'll give him a 7. You know, missed a really good chance, put us 1-0 up. Trossard, I'm going to give a 5, guys. I don't think he was that good. And I'm actually going to change Marino's rating to a 6. I think he was fine. Yeah, I'm happier with that. I think Marino, like I said, did some good things. A 5 is fine. A 6 is better. He was quite good. I'll give him quite good because I don't think he was near. He wasn't as good as Gabriel. He wasn't near Lewis Skelly and Gyökeres, which if he's a 7, I'm saying he's 1 rating off them. Martinelli got the goal. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that, people. I'm quite happy with what we've landed on there. Trossard was frustrating with his final, you know, his final action. Could have scored a couple goals. Crossing wasn't all there. Wasn't really beating his fullback, but did some nice things. Played some lovely football. One touch suits him. So yeah, some people are saying frustrating. He was Trossard. Some people say Martinelli is 6, but to be fair, he got the goal. We'll run through the subs really, really quickly because I don't think there's much to say on them. Mosquera, I mean, a 6, came on, defended well. not a lot to say. Came on to see out the game, did very well. Saka, 8, actually 9. I think he was brilliant. Comes on, destroys his fullback, puts on a plate for Odegaard. So nearly won us the game then, and then he does by moving to the left and scoring. Well done, Saka. As a lovely ping out to Saka. Didn't do too much more though. I'll give him a 7. Timber came on to see it out. Sure, 7. Did fine, didn't he? Very comfortable in possession. Showed some lovely composure in his penalty area. Declan Rice. What are you giving Declan Rice, people? I don't know what to give him. I'm going to give him a 6. Came on, did fine. Arteta, an 8. Not his fault that the players missed chances. Arsenal played some, very, very, very good football. He rotated and we won and we got a clean sheet and he made the changes to make sure that we saw it out and ultimately won us the game. So yeah, I'm right with that. Those are the ratings, people. We're going to round it off there because I have to rush off. So big thank you to all who've tuned in. Sorry we did this the morning after, but like I said, when it's late games or particular circumstances, I might do it the night after. West Ham might come Sunday morning, but I'll try to do it Saturday night because obviously there's quite a bit of time. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff UK time. People are saying Arteta a 9, coached a 5-0. Yeah, pretty fair. We'll go with that, people. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel. That's where you're going to find all my content here on the Goonerverse. So yeah, do hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Big thank you to all who've tuned in, and I'll be back with a video actually later today. Yeah, there'll be a video on Declan Rice probably later this evening, so look out for that. All right, big thanks. Catch you in a bit.